Hello, people. Now, the pay-per-view numbers for the Deontay Wilder versus Luis 50-year-old Ortiz have finally been released. No, not by the PBC, and no, not by Fox, but by Rick Glazer. Now, Rick Glazer is a person with contacts, and he usually gets the right figures, so let's hear what he has to say. Oh my, now we know why PBC and Fox didn't release the Wilder-Ortiz rematch pay-per-view number. Wow, even way lower than I expected. A financial bloodbath for Fox and PBC, just 138,000 pay-per-view buys. How bad was that? Crawford Khan, with zero advertising, did more buys. And Fox really advertised Wilder Ortiz heavily. It goes to show you the pay-per-view model is broken unless it's an absolutely demand fight, and further demonstrates Deontay Wilder can't draw. If a fighter only draws hardcores and not the general sporting public, it's not a pay-per-view attraction. It's that simple. It further illustrates what I've been saying for 2 years. The apps are the present and future of boxing programming, period. This number was way below what I originally predicted when the fight was first announced. I said 220,000 pay-per-view buys, but Fight Week I saw it as DOA, dead on arrival, and was estimating 180,000 pay-per-view buys. This is a real quandary for Wilder Fury rematch scheduled for February 22nd. Even though Wilder Fury will have real demand, all your comments are welcome relating to all the above. Now, people, let's get our calculators out. Let's put in 138,000 times by 75. 138,000, of course, being the amount of pay-per-view sold, and 75 being $75, the cost of the pay-per-view. Now, we will get a number 10.35 million. So, essentially, the fight between Deontay Wilder and Luis 50-year-old Ortiz made less than $10.5 million in pay-per-view. Now, people, let's see what the official purses for the fight and the undercard were. Deontay Wilder earned $3 million. Luis 50-year-old Ortiz earned $1.5 million. Leo Santa Claus Cruz earned $750,000. Miguel Flores earned $100,000, and so on and so on. So now let's get our calculator out and let's add up these purses, shall we? So people, as you can see, I've added up all of the purses and we get a grand total of $5,975,000. So that's what all the purses added up together comes to. Right, people, we all know that Deontay Wilder can't sell out a stadium.
To this day!
We all know that Deontay Wilder gives away free tickets and still can't get a full house.
To this day!
Now, people, let's be really generous to Deontay Wilder, and let's assume that he sold $3 million worth of tickets. So let's add that up with the $10.5 million pay-per-view, and you'll get a grand total of $13.5 million. However, Fox need to make money. So people, let me explain how this works. Fox want a certain guarantee. For example, they will sit down with, in this case, Al Heyman, and say, we want to keep all the money generated up until $15 million. So the first $15 million in pay-per-view revenue generated, we're going to keep that in our pocket. Anything above $15 million will go 50-50 with the fighters. So we'll get half and the fighters will get half. So let's say this pay-per-view generated $20 million, which we know it did, then half will go to the fighter above $15 million. So $2.5 million would have been added to Deontay Windmill Wilder or Luis 50-year-old Ortiz's purse, but it didn't, and Fox instead failed. Fox made a financial loss, as of course we saw earlier with the post. And not to mention Al Heyman's cut. Al Heyman needs to make money, people. He's a businessman, so he will also take a huge cut. He will take probably 30% as the boxing manager's share. So stories like this that say Deontay Windmill Wilder will make $20 million and Luis 50-year-old Ortiz will make $7 million have been completely shut down, because I got my calculator out and proved to you people exactly how much this fight generated. Now people, I have yet to mention the huge amount of money Fox spent to advertise this fight. Now Fox advertised this fight on their own channels, okay? So they had to tell companies who would have paid them money, no, we are not going to advertise your products or your company, we're going to advertise our pay-per-view. And so the loss to Fox was twofold. Firstly, they lost money as this fight was a financial bloodbath. But secondly, they lost money from other companies who would have happily paid for their product to be advertised on Fox TV. So Fox lost out money from these companies, from the money they would have given to advertise, and of course this pay-per-view was a financial bloodbath. So Steven Espinosa now looks like a wise old owl for declining this fight. Yes, we all know Steven Espinosa told Deontay Windmill Wilder to get on his bike, as Showtime did not want to make yet another huge loss on this man, on this hillbilly from Alabama who can't sell a ticket. And there are many pro-Deontay Windmill Wilder fan channels on YouTube. I mean, Blue Balls is one of them. PBC's Arse Lickers Voice is another. They're saying that this hillbilly from Alabama is the face of boxing. I mean, how can this individual be the face of boxing when he is costing his broadcasters millions and millions of dollars and they make a loss during his fights? Yes, they make a loss. And I'm sure all these pro-Deontay Windmill Wilder channels are already lining up their excuses. But don't worry, I've got another video coming out very shortly that's going to dismantle each and every excuse that these Deontay Windmill Wilder ass-licking channels will try to bring out to defend the poor pay-per-view sales of this hillbilly from Alabama. Now, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace out.